Just takes a minute for Facebook to catch up. And then I need to turn off the sound so it doesn't get feedback. There we go. That's it. Perfect. Okay, we are live in the group Take Control of Your Menopause. Good evening, everybody, and welcome. I am joined this evening, as you know, by Maria B, and Maria has come along this evening kindly to talk about her journey to basically reversing pre-diabetes, I think it's fair to say. So, and also losing inches at the same time. So welcome, Maria.
Hi, everyone.
Hi. So should we just dive straight in, and I'm gonna just to ask you some questions and then you can just explain as we go. So first of all, if you can just talk about what challenges were you facing, what were you experiencing before you came into kind of my world and we started working together. What was it? I've explained you had pre-diabetes, but you know, what was going on for you?
Well, obviously I'm menopausal, so I was having a fair few symptoms of the menopause.
Yeah.
Such as brain fog, lots of brain fog, anxiety, hot sweats, and specifically I'd noticed that I'd put weight on that I just could not lose, and predominantly around my middle, which I hated having the muffin top, because I've always been quite a slim, even skinny probably as a child, and suddenly weight that I could get rid of.
And when did you notice that happening? So what age are you? If you,
I'm 53.
Happy to share. Yeah.
Now, it kind of creeps up on you, I think.
Doesn't it? Yeah, absolutely.
Late-ish 40s, probably over the last 4 or 5 years, really.
Yeah. And so you had noticed that this kind of been creeping on and it was getting worse. And what did you try? What had you tried that hadn't worked? I know that like most women, by the time they come to me, they've tried a whole list of things. So do you want to tell everybody what you had tried?
I'd try not really specific diets as such, because for me to have to diet was quite hard, because I've always been slim in the past, so I've never been somebody that's had weight issues, so I've never really dieted. But I try not eating fats, not eating carbs, fasting, juicing, different exercises, thinking, oh, perhaps that might help me. So the usual thing I think that most women around my age
try. Yeah. And it's interesting, isn't it? Because if you know, everybody says that, you know, some schools of thought is cut out fat, some is cut out carbs, some is, you know, juicing, and whereas in the past, when you're in your 20s and 30s, those little tactics can help, and I would argue short term, and they do cause their own problems, as I keep on talking about, and they actually are part of the problem of why women, when they get into their 40s, have this problem, because it messes with the metabolism. And actually I posted tonight, and I sent out an email tonight about this, where you're basically affecting your metabolism. But all those things don't even work anymore. Even when you try them, it's short term, you just don't get the same results. You know, you don't get that quick weight loss, you get nothing. It's just,
I think you do it for a certain amount of time, and then you slip back into old habits, and the weight comes anyway. So
and then some. That's the thing, is that you don't just gain back what you lost. Often you gain more as well. And did you notice that the weight distribution changed as you hit menopause and kind of headed towards your 50s? the
Yeah.
distribution, did it kind of go more central as opposed to more evenly distributed on bums and hips and boobs?
Yeah, definitely had a spare tire.
Yeah, yeah,
I did notice it as well, like around the rib cage, under my back, like back fat, and
yeah,
a bit on my thighs. But
yeah,
the spare tire was the most
yeah,
noticed.
yeah. And that is just so common with perimenopause and menopause. And there's very good reasons for it. But dieting, restricting, cutting out different certain, specific food groups, increasing your exercise, all of these things aren't going to cut it, unfortunately. So what then? So then you'd gone to the GP and you'd just had a regular blood test, or
Have
yeah,
generally like a yearly MOT type blood test, I suppose.
yeah,
And we were both really surprised to discover that I was pre-diabetic.
right,
I've been with my GP for 30 years.
yeah,
He knows me pretty well. He knows
yeah,
how I'm generally a fit person, that I, look at what I eat and everything.
yeah,
But not once did he mention connection with a spike in my blood glucose being connected to being menopausal. In fact, he's not interested in menopause whatsoever.
no,
I mean, I have a history of breast cancer in the family, so I cannot have HRT.
no,
So I've just been one of those women that's been brushed aside and basically told to get on with it.
yeah, yeah,
It's then, I think, that I started doing more and more research,
yeah,
looking at different people, because obviously there's a lot of people that talk about the menopause online.
yeah,
And when I came across yourself,
it's me, yeah, yeah. And you came into this group, and then I think you came along around about not long before I was launching the Belly Buster method for the first time. Is that right?
yes, I
Yeah,
did.
yeah. So, what did you find difficult about the things that you had tried before? What did you find difficult about them?
Probably the continuity of things, and I'd go through little phases where I'd say, oh, I'm not going to have chocolate this week, or I'm not going to have wine in the week, I'll only have it at the weekend, or
Yeah, yeah,
like that. I think you get into, well, I personally you have little rituals, you have little habits, like if
yeah,
I have coffee at 11 o'clock, I'd always have a biscuit with it, or if I have a cup of tea in the evening, I like my chocolate, things like that, that you
yeah,
just create these habits.
yeah,
I suppose it was just a bigger picture of seeing how I could change myself, change these.
yeah, yeah. And what did you have any hesitations with joining? So obviously I talk about belly fat and hormones and menopause and perimenopause regularly. So you kind of got a flavour of what the angle I'm coming from and the kind of my approach. Did you have any hesitations before joining? What was your thought process? What made you decide to go ahead?
I think it was probably because when I read more and more the things that you were writing about, the fact that you even mentioned blood glucose was the first thing.
Yeah,
And of course that was something that I was struggling with,
yeah,
been for the last couple of years probably, and as hard as I've tried to cut out sugar and all the things that I think I'm doing right,
yeah,
glucose had not really dropped. It had fluctuated slightly, but it was still pre-diabetic. I wasn't in the normal range. So when I saw that mentioned, that was what caught my eye.
Yeah.
And as much as I thought I knew myself what I should and shouldn't be eating,
Yeah.
I know what, I'm going to put my faith in somebody and just see if I can tweak things to change things.
Yeah. Yeah. And what was the first thing that you noticed about the program when you started working with me that kind of helped you? What was it?
Just that it was one of those sort of things. Oh, right, okay, that's straightforward. It was simple to follow.
Yeah.
Easy understand, and it wasn't ridiculously like, oh, you've got to do
No.
this or that, or don't eat that, and all that sort of thing.
No.
It was just straightforward and well laid out and easy to understand. And I thought, I can do that.
Yeah, exactly. And that is exactly it, is that it's not a diet. I
No.
don't do diets. In fact, most people feel like they're eating more doing, because you have to eat enough of the
Yeah.
right foods. So most women who are used to the kind of binge and starve cycle of dieting are really surprised at how much you can eat. And the idea is that you understand the principles of how your body works. It's literally how your body works and what's going on, especially during perimenopause and menopause. And once you grasp that key concept, and you understand the impact not just food but other things have on your blood sugar and your body and your hormones, then it's much easier to make those changes, isn't it?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
I would. Yeah.
So what would you say you found different to things that you had done before?
Probably what I could eat and the amount I was eating and the order maybe that I ate things, and just things like what to put on my plate and portion size and things like that. I think I'd probably been making big mistakes.
And the problem is there's so much false information out there. Because I see a lot, because of the work I do. Facebook is constantly showing me things, and I read so much, and I sometimes just like face palming, because I see so much misinformation. And when you really drill down to the basics, it's not that complicated, because it makes sense. And once you understand because I don't just teach you what to do, I teach you why you should do it.
Yes.
And I think that is a really key thing. And I'm very passionate about educating women, because, the women that come into my world, they're intelligent women. And it's not that it's not that they're stupid, it's just that they've not been shown the right way. And once you're shown what you're supposed to do and why, it's very easy to then stick to it, because you're thinking, well, if I do this, then this is the consequence, and if I do this, then this is the consequence. And the other thing I think is really important is that you can still have the odd chocolate or the odd glass of wine. It's not you've got to cut it out and you have to be totally 100% strict the entire time. But that when you do have it, you know what you're doing, the consequences, and it's not going, one glass of wine isn't going to ruin everything. And that's the mentality that people get when they get into dieting. It's like, oh my God, I had a glass of wine last night, I've fallen off the wagon, I've got to, I might as well wait until Monday to start again. It's absolute nonsense.
I think it's all about mindful eating, actually. I think I found myself, even like when I was going out in a restaurant, I was thinking, oh, I'm going in a restaurant now, what do I do? But I think once you look at the menu and just rethink how you're looking at it in a way, I found myself thinking, oh no, I can still do the way what I've been doing, and still have a nice meal and have a couple of drinks and relax and the rest of it. It's not like you're regimented and you can't eat what you eat.
Because it's principles. It's not a diet, it's principles. You can apply it to any cuisine, you can apply it to anything. It doesn't matter whether you've got a preference for a more Asian diet, or you like Italian food, or whatever it is. Once you know the principles, and it's not just the kind of food principles, but it's all the other stuff around it, then you know what you're doing. It doesn't matter where you are. You can be on holiday, you can go out to dinner, you can go to a friend's house, doesn't make any difference.
Right. It's a way of life. After a while, you just get used to it and it becomes your lifestyle. I just do it automatically, and my
Yeah.
family, 3 grown-up sons. So there's 5 of us here, and I cook every day. I do cook from scratch,
Yeah.
and that's how I do it now. Just
Yeah.
second nature after a while, I think.
And how did they take to it? Was it a big adjustment for them, a big change, or not really?
To be fair, my older 2 boys are quite easy. My youngest, he's 19, he's a bit more fussy.
Yeah.
So I do sort of adapt things to accommodate him, but I still
Yeah.
think he's 19. So I think once you get a little bit older, he'll start realizing, oh yeah, it's not so bad after all. But he's definitely started trying more foods, because I've just said, well, that's what we're having. Take it or leave it. And yeah, I think it's broadened his horizons and opened their eyes a bit as well. So yeah, it's been good all round, really.
Good. So tell everybody, what's the biggest achievement? What's the biggest result that you feel you've achieved during when you did the program, and since? Because obviously we finished in end of June or beginning of July, I think. Beginning of July, was it? Can't remember. Yeah, it was beginning of July. So yeah, what was your biggest achievement?
Well, probably my blood glucose, because I went for another blood test and it had gone from just under 6 to 4.8. So that's normal. And I was just thrilled to bits with that, really. That was a big thing, because it wasn't so much that I'm hugely overweight, because I'm not.
No.
It's a health issue for me. I did not want to be one of those people that slipped from being pre-diabetic into patient. That was my worst nightmare.
Yeah.
The fact that I turned it all around in probably under 8 weeks.
Under 8 weeks, yeah.
Was an achievement.
It was a brilliant achievement, and you are one of the ones that I remember you, because you shared a lot in the group, which was brilliant, and you just embraced it, and you just took all the learnings and implemented it, asked lots of questions, which is what I wanted people to ask, because that's what I'm there for. That's why it's it's so different to anything that most people have done, because most people, diets and stuff, you haven't got somebody who's trained in the way that I am, and B, you don't kind of have that access on a daily basis to just be able to ask questions. And you just embraced it, and when you got those results, it was fantastic. Did you get the results from your GP, or was it from the trial that you were doing? Because you coincidentally were doing a trial.
Definitely doing a trial. No, I'm still on the trial. No, I did do a blood test on the trial, but I didn't realize that was not that was for research purposes only. So I didn't see that. So then I went back to the GP. So it's through my GP I got all the blood results, and I will actually probably I will be taking another blood test when I reach the end of the trial I'm doing, which will be in another 6 weeks or so.
It'll be really interesting to see what it is then as well.
I am doing 2 at the same time, weirdly, but it's fine, because it's just exercise on the trial that I'm doing, so that's all.
And I think it's important to say that there is a huge percentage of women who go through perimenopause and into menopause who tip into pre-diabetes and don't even know. Because unless you go to the GP and get tested, unless you start getting like very obvious symptoms of diabetes, pre-diabetes, you won't know. Diabetes, because once you've tipped in, then the symptoms start. But most women don't get tested, and they have no idea. And the stats for how many women are, and it's not just pre-diabetes, it's all related to insulin and insulin resistance. It's not just the blood glucose, it's the insulin as well. But insulin doesn't get measured, unfortunately, as standard. And most women don't have any clue at all that they are, that close to being diabetic. And it's a reversible disease, you know, it's reversible.
Actually, and he managed to reverse it through diet, and that was a few years ago. So I don't know, maybe it's something that runs in my family slightly, but
Mm.
those that I know for a fact that are, number one, they're overweight, number two, they drink and eat and drink a lot, and they've just got the attitude like they bury their head in the sand and say what we don't know won't hurt us, basically.
Yeah, yeah,
No, so they just can carry on smoking, drinking, eating, whatever.
yeah,
And whereas I've always been somebody that's keen to, that's why I
yeah,
did the trial. I could look at my gut bacteria and my bloods and everything else. I'd rather know so that I could do something about it.
yeah,
And so this has worked out well for me.
yeah. Brilliant. Well, brilliant. Thank you very much for sharing that, because I think it's important for people to kind of understand a little bit more about what it's about. You know, it's all very well saying, well, I've got a different approach to what you've tried before, but it's like, well, you know, what is it exactly? So, you know.
Sisterhood, and if you're in a group with other women, I personally found it really helpful that you could put photos of what you had for breakfast or lunch, and
Yeah,
everybody could see it, and
yeah,
it very easy to accessible, very accessible. Like you say, you answered questions, and we had lots of questions. I did, and it was great, really
yeah.
good.
Good. That's what I like, is that, you know, people sharing pictures and asking, is this okay? And, you know, labels of food and all sorts of things, because it's the only way you're going to learn. You know, I've been doing this for years. You don't just suddenly know it.
Yes.
And then over time it becomes second nature, and then, you know, reading food labels is something that you learn in the program.
Now,
Sorry, say that again.
now I spend hours in the supermarkets looking at food labels.
Yeah, I know, once you start. Yeah. Okay, brilliant. Thank you, Maria. Well, hopefully hopefully you found that interesting and helpful. If you've got questions, I don't know if we've got any questions already. You just have a look. No, but if anybody's watching and you've got questions, or if you're watching on the replay, just pop your questions in the comments, and I will answer them. And if there's anything specific from Maria, then I will let her know, and I'm sure she'll, when she has time, just answer them. The Belly Buster method, the next round is starting in early September. So I'm going to be sharing more information about it over the next couple of weeks. And we start on Monday, the 5th of September, just in time for the kids to go back to school. So I know that's always a concern. So if anybody's interested, you can drop me a message, or I will be sharing more information about it over the next 10 days or whatever it is. All right, brilliant. Thank you very much, Maria. And I will see you soon, and see everybody else soon. All right, take care. Bye for now.